Let us bring out the artist in you. If you'd like to learn how to paint or improve your painting, the SAA is here to inform, encourage, and inspire you every step of the way. When you become an SAA member, you get so many benefits, including the free bi-monthly newsletter Paint, packed with inspiring step-by-step projects, fascinating articles, and detailed information to get your creative juices flowing. Discounts on over 13,000 art products featured on the SAA website and in the Home Shop catalogue, with free order line and free delivery in the UK mainland. A devoted SAA team on hand to answer your questions and give you the confidence and motivation you need to start painting and develop at a pace that suits you. Plus, a free welcome pack filled with gifts and practical help to get you started, as well as the opportunity to make friends with like-minded people.
Best thing about being a member is the inspiration from the magazines, to be able to purchase things at a very reasonable price.
Yeah, you get the reduction on all the materials, the advice you get.
I can shop from home.
It's a community.
It seemed like a very friendly sort of organisation.
If somebody's thinking of joining, don't spend too long thinking. Just join. They'll love it.
Morning. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming to the workshop. Okay, we're going to be painting in watercolour, and it's going to be titled Caravan. Yeah, which are camels in the desert. You can see that any time if you go to the desert and have a look and sit there long enough on a sand dune, they'll come passing by if you know the right places to go to. Okay, and this one is no exception, really. We're going to approach this in an impressionistic manner, in largely two washes. The first wash we're going to use across the paper, so we'll cover all the white of the paper. Now, I want you to make up pale washes. They should be easy for you to make up, okay? But do make sure that when you make a wash on your plate or on your palette, that you mix up enough so that you don't have to keep remixing and adding to the wash, yeah? So we're going to do a simple one here, which is the background wash, which is a variegated wash of two colours. One is raw sienna, okay, and the other one is ultramarine. Yeah, pretty standard pale wash. Now, I'm not able to come around each one of you before you start and, mix them up for you, so you're going to have to just follow me. You'll need this one, which is your big wash brush. Okay. I've already started on mine in my Waugh palette there, and I'm adding raw sienna and then adding the water to the wash. Now I'm going to mix up enough to cover most of the paper. So plenty of water and plenty of colour. And you want it to be pale, not too fiery, just very pale. Okay, when you think you've got enough of that, wash the brush out in the water, go to the ultramarine and mix that one as well to a pale consistency. Well, it's always going to be a little bit darker than the yellow, obviously. Do not apply these colours yet. Warning, do not apply the colours yet. Okay, get them mixed up first of all. Okay. Until you think you've got enough, should be easy to gauge. All right, when you've done that, okay, you can either watch me and then go afterwards, or you can do it at the same time, because I'll try and take it slowly, okay? So don't worry and don't rush if you're not ready with those washes yet. Okay. I'm going to wash my brush out, and this is where you need your towel, and take the excess liquid off it. Make sure that the brush is clean to start with. And just remember, the thing that watercolour does best of all is it runs. So one colour will naturally run into another, Though there's no reason why you should have to merge or brush the colours together. As soon as they hit, they will merge. Yeah, allow that to happen naturally. If you don't and you dabble with it too much, the penalty, of course, is an overworked look, and we don't want that. We want a nice, fresh, clean, loose result. So I'm going to apply the yellow first, and I'm going to go top to bottom, left to right. Yeah, top to bottom, left to right, and I'm going to keep loading the brush with the yellow and allow it to run on the paper naturally. Keep plenty of liquid on the paper. And about a third of the way down, you're watching the wash. I'm going to clean the brush out, tap it on the paper, and then add the blue. Some parts over the yellow. In. Yeah, and you can see them merging naturally. I'm going to go back to the yellow, pull the wash down, if the dilution gets a bit muddy here, as the two things mix, wash the brush out again, tap it on the paper to get rid of the excess liquid, and continue with the yellow. Okay, let the colours run down the paper or merge together in a natural way. We may add a little bit more blue to the bottom of the picture. Now there's a temptation to go back over what you do and tidy it up. Please don't do that. What happens when I get big chimneys like this, you can see? Yeah? I'm going to leave those. It might be fun, might be exciting. I'm at a slight angle, and so are you, with the board. So complete the square, if you like, or envelope, until you're happy that you've got enough colours on the paper. See, there's a big temptation at this stage, I've said it just earlier, I'm going to say it again, to start fiddling and doing things too early. Don't fiddle, okay? Okay, yeah, I'm looking out there and I'm thinking, yes, that's it, you've got it. Now that's a variegated wash with 2 colours. You can do it with 3 colours, you can do it with 4 colours if you want to. That's your first wash. Now we should let that dry a little bit, okay? I'm going to spend a little bit of time just telling you about what we're going to do in the second part here. That was easy enough, I hope. Yeah, I'd like to hear a resounding yes there, but okay, that was easy enough. Now you can apply that wash to any situation, okay, as a backwash, you probably know that, or as a sky, you can fashion it into a sky. You can use it for, you know, any particular kind of landscape or street scene or anything like that. It's a method rather than a wash. I think Russell Flint called it, you know, a variegated wash, or it's sometimes known as a premier coup. Yeah, very fancy name, which is a military term, isn't it? Which means that. Or Turner used it quite a lot, I think, you know. Later years, by the old people that taught me, the good old people that taught me, they call it putting on the soup. It's a soup of colours, okay. It's fairly traditional. But as mine is drying, I'm seeing that it's looking more delightful than it did when it was wet. Yeah? So here's something to point out to you. You know, if things look bad when they're wet, they're not. Okay, you have to wait until it dries before you can really decide on whether or not you need to tidy it up or throw it away or whatever. And actually, that's quite good. We may get a few little, what do you call it, blowbacks or cauliflowers. Thank you. I don't think that translates into other, languages too much, but yeah. Right, now I'm going to work on mine while it's still damp, but I would like you to leave yours alone for best results, okay, until you've watched the next part. I'm going to run you through that by taking this sheet here. I hope I'm, using it on the camera there. We're on the camera. And for those people at home, okay, I better point them in the right direction. This is an important point. When you start here, that was all very well and good, the first wash, easy to do, okay? Now it's where you place the point that you're going to gauge everything else from, your yardstick, as they call it, yeah? Used to call it. We're going to start right here with that little dark blob. It's very easy to do. That little dark blob there is going to give us the rest of the, it's going to be a point, a yardstick, a point where we take all other reference from. I know you probably never painted in this way before. However, bear with me, okay? There was a time where I'd never painted like this before. I'd always drawn things out and then coloured them in. But when I took this disembarkation, and it was about shape painting, light or dark. So we're going to start there, and then we're going to perhaps do the little blob of colour that's on his hat there. You can see that, a blue. And you can see that I've painted the shadow areas of that top figure first in blue. You can see, if you look, focus in on his shirt, you can see that I've only painted the shadows on the shirt and not the shirt itself. Yeah? Okay, so am I about ready? Yeah, I think so. I'm going to put that in front of me as my reference. If you can do that, that's great. Now, you're not obliged to start yet, okay? I'll give you a starter for 10, as they say. Okay, just watch me, because it's important that you see how it's done rather than paint along. Okay, I'm going to take my burnt umber, and I'm using the top part of the palette, and I'm not mixing a very liquid wash. What you need is less liquid on the brush than there is on the paper. Yeah? So we're taking the burnt umber first, and I'm making a small wash, a very dark, component of paint in there. Important thing here, okay, is to get just enough liquid in the brush with the dark so that when you put it in, it doesn't go claggy. Yeah? Just enough. I want to just put a little bit more with it. Runny, but not out of control. So I'm going to place my blob, and it's a funny little shape, that, but just about here, see? I don't know if you can see that on the screen. Yeah, you can see that on the screen. I'm going to put it just there and try to fashion it, as I see it, Yeah? That blob was easy. It's got a lot of liquid in it. It's very easy. I'm going to wash the brush out, and this time I'm going to put the blue shadows of his shirt on by taking a little bit of the ultramarine, putting on a separate pipe. We don't need very much. Okay, loading my number 8, worker brush with it. You can draw with it and you can paint with it at the same time. Again, I'm gonna have to do this quickly, and so are you. Okay, this little bit here. Once I've got my first dark blob placed, for better or for worse, I don't touch it. I'm now going to paint the shadows of the shirt on. Okay, so we've got one down the left-hand side of the... We've got this kind of arrangement. It's never going to turn out the same twice, but we've got that kind of arrangement. Yeah? We might just soften some of the edges of that by using a damp brush. Yeah? So I put my brush in the water, take off the excess liquid so that it's clean, and then just touch the edge of a wash here and there. And I'm just going to put the shape of the hat on right now. We'll do that, yeah, okay. Hand's a little wobbly this morning. It always is in the warm. I'm going to stop at this stage and say, give that a go, okay? You've got two things here. One is the first blob, representing his head, yeah? That one's probably the hardest one to do. That's your benchmark, okay? But the blue one you could see was quite an easy one. It was quite a pale wash, really. So don't make the head too big, all right? Smaller would be better. Give it a shot, and you don't have to rush. Okay. If the two colours want to merge together, let them. Okay. Pardon? Yeah, same blue as you used before. When we get past this little stage, you'll get the hang of it. When you get the hang of it, you'll be a little bit more confident. When you're a little bit more confident, you'll paint much better. Okay. The initial mark is always quite difficult. Okay. So might as well make it a big dark one. Yeah, what I like about watercolour is the way that they do merge together. You know, rather than we're trying to stop it, we should kind of employ it. And I've always liked impressionistic watercolours, yeah? Granulation, if you leave the colours do what they want to do, they'll granulate and do all of the things they want to do naturally. Okay, it's only when you disturb them that they do nasty things. Okay, so it's a question of keeping it brief. Morning, John. Brief and sparkly, really, watercolour. When it sparkles, it's best, isn't it? Now, I want you to keep a weather eye on the proportions of the figures to the camels. Okay, we'll keep a weather eye on that, and I'm kind of looking over here and seeing all different results already. Okay, we ready to move on? Yeah. Okay, if you haven't done that yet, you should be able to do it within a minute. It's like 1 minute. Okay, it seems like a long time when you're concentrating, but if you're in an area for more than a minute, get out and stay out, otherwise you're overworking. Okay? As I say, if you want to fiddle, join an orchestra. But not when you're doing watercolour. Okay. Good, yeah, we're here to have fun as well, you know, it's not just a technical thing. Okay, I'm going to move on there, so, you know, watch the screen. Okay, I'm going to go down to where the chap who's sitting on a camel is actually placed. We're going to look at that, and it's quite complex there. So I'm going to go back to the burnt umber with the same solution. Again, we're going to do that little dark spot. I don't know if we can see that. Let me pick the... We're going to do this little dark spot here. See that little blob there? Yeah, just there. Okay, because that leads us into the first camel. So I'm going to place that down here as his foot. Okay, there. You can do that along with me if you want to. I'm going to add a little bit of ultramarine to the burnt umber for the blob at the back here. And just soften that into his garment by using a damp brush. Don't forget, it is just an abstract shape. it shouldn't be fashioned into the seat of the camel that he's sitting on. Not yet. Okay, so you should have a little arch of serrated light area just here, beginning to show just there. And that's our next step. Okay. I'm not going to wait for you, you just have to glance up at the next thing that I'm doing. I'm going to take a little bit of vermilion in the brush, tiny bit of vermilion in a damp brush, and at the same time I'm going to dip my brush into the raw sienna. Okay, let me take you through that again. I'm going to take a bit of the vermilion red, okay, pick a bit of it up on the brush here, and then put my brush into the raw sienna at the same, just afterwards. I'm picking up two colours on the brush. Yeah? Not just one this time, two. And I'm going to place that over what should be the blanket there. See? That way. I'm going to soften some of those edges with a damp brush just by touching the liquid with a damp brush. Stop worrying. I can see you. Worried faces. Stop worrying. Okay. Just follow the instructions. And then we'll see what he looks like at the end, okay? That's all right. Try and do the best that you can here. Okay. It should be fun. Let the colours merge. If they want to merge together, please let them do it. The result is always much better than if you tried to stop them. Okay, we're going to go back to the burnt umber, and I'm going to take even more of a risk this time than I did before. Okay? I'm going to load it with a little bit of ultramarine and a lot of burnt umber, and we're going to let that merge with the shape that I've just painted, as you can see. In that kind of a way. And you should see, if you look at the screen, the man and the camel beginning to appear. Yeah. Well, I'm not thinking about that. I'm just thinking about the shapes and how they merge together, one brushstroke at a time. You can only paint one brushstroke at a time. It's how they all merge together at the end that makes the painting what it is. Okay? Just keep reminding yourself you can't break anything. So there's no need to be worried. I see some smiles and some grimaces on that one, but it's all right, you can't make a mistake, it's fine. Okay? Okay, I'm just giving you, a few minutes to duplicate that. Right, now I'm going to wash my brush out again. I do this quite often. When I finish with a colour, I'll go back and I'll wash the brush out. I tend to use the water as a rinsing agent rather than keep chucking it at the painting. Yeah, I chuck paint at the painting, not so much water. I only use it now and again to let things, to merge or soften certain washes, as you can see there. Okay, so this time I'm going to go into the raw sienna. We're going to paint that swoop of the camel's head. This one, I'll show you. We're going to come up on the right-hand side to paint this in raw sienna. Yeah, just there. We're going to leave that light area there. Can you see that one, that blank area? We're going to leave that area there free of paint. That's from our backwash. But we're going to come paint this bit and then draw it up to the camel here, this shape, here and here. Yeah, the shadow shape, in other words. And whilst that's still wet, I'm going to drop in some ultramarine blue and burnt umber. Okay, that's the next step. First of all, let's get the raw sienna down, first of all. Okay, so watch me and think about it like this. Not a camel's head, it's the spout of a teapot. Much easier to think of it's a teapot than it is a camel. Camels are complicated to think about, but teapots are easy. But you can see what I mean. It's a kind of a teapot shape. A spout. So I'm going to do that right now. So watch here. I'm going to come up there like this for the spout. Okay? And then paint the top part as best I can. There. Got that shape? It's not all of the camel's neck, it's just a part of it in the head. Now, whilst that's still damp, I'm going to drop in some of that ultramarine blue, first of all. Just here, just underneath where I want the camel's neck. And just down here as it goes into the body and the seat. Yep. Can you see that? What I've done? I've dropped in a little bit of ultramarine into the wet raw sienna. I can't do it again. I'll mimic it, okay? I started off here by the body of the camel, the shoulder of the camel there, and I put a kind of an S shape like this, right up to the tip of the head, and then took it across to the nose, and then back down again into the wash. Then I added the other things. And I added the blue. All right. Right, look at the whole thing, because I'm going to paint the details on the camel now with some burnt umber. Inside that, I'm going to paint some of the recesses on the camel's head. Okay, one is the ear. I'm going to drop in a little bit of burnt umber on the ear. If we get a close-up of that, it would be good. And the eye socket here. Underneath the neck. And of course, the mouth. And nose. I'm just checking on the screen to see if I've done it properly. Okay, so we're putting in the details with the burnt umber last of all while it's still damp, while all the washes are still damp. So basically it was ear, eye, neck, mouth and nose. Don't concern yourself with it being wrong too much, okay? Just, we'll see what it looks like at the end. There's room for adjustment at the end. It's not a problem, okay? Quite a lot of the problems with the way the watercolour looks is because people keep on tickling or changing things as they're going along. Actually, if they left it to the end, it would be a lot easier to alter. Just take my word for that. It's experience there. Many times, nothing at all. Okay, many times I overworked it, fiddled it, all the rest of it. So I keep it really, every mark, quite simple these days. And we're creating an impression, yeah, not a photorealistic result here. Okay. Now we're going to do something even more, mind-boggling than that. Okay, I'm going to come down to the right-hand side of the camel's neck here, and we're going to paint that little baby one in there. Can you see it? We're going to paint that dark shape in there. Okay, it's all right. It'll be all right in the end. Keep your concentration up. This one here, okay? So watch me, okay? I'll do it quite slowly as possible, okay. The difference here is I'm not panicking like you are. Yeah, well, yeah, I do. I've done it many times before, and I've realised that when I'm calm, I do it a lot better than when I'm panicking. Same thing in the car when I'm driving. Much better when I'm calm, and they're all losing their rag. Okay, so we're going to do that shape there. Okay, I'm going to start off with a little bit of raw sienna, and we're going to try and trap that light on the camel's neck. I'm sure you can see it here. Yeah, well, I'll put it next to that one, see? There, so you can see it. We're going to try and trap that light shape there by doing this dark shape here. Yeah. So, we'll come down that bit there. See, add a little, like a line. Okay, and put a swatch of colour across here. So I trap that little bit of light there. And then I'm going to go quickly to the burnt sienna and ultramarine mixed in the brush. I'm going to add that in while it's still damp. Yeah, no, look I'm pressing the brush to get the shape. See that? I'm pressing the brush to get the shape. Lady at the end, I don't need. Yeah, I'm pressing the brush down to get a bigger shape. Instead of painting it with the tip of the brush, I'm using the belly as well. Look. Don't expect to paint it all at once. Okay, so we're doing this shape here. So it can be a little complex, but it's coming. Look. And it's pretty much a silhouette shape. I'm just going to just lighten it a little bit there by pressing the brush down, a damp brush into it. So if you want to make a slightly lighter look, then go for your damp brush. And of course you can, at any point in time, you can leave your shape half finished. Yeah? If you're finding it too much, you can do it in jigsaw pieces. You don't have to do the whole shape in one fell movement. You can do parts of it while it's still damp and take a little breather in between. Okay, now, next bit is I'm going to paint the back leg. It's the front camel, here. And I've painted half of the leg there. And I'm going to paint half of the front one here, like this. No? Down to the knee, this one here. Don't worry if you can't keep up, it's fine. Someone's going to turn around in a minute and say, I'm still on the guy's head. I'm still on the guy's head at the top, Now I'm going to merge those two together. You can see from my painting here that the two merge together, and I'm going to use a damp brush to do that. It would be nice to finish off the legs there on that one, but we've got two shapes now. We've got this one in the front, which is our man riding the camel. And we've got a little baby one at the back, which is a dark one, throwing this one forward. If you can capture that, what they call relief, dark, and a light one coming forward and dark one going back, then you're on the right lines. I just wonder how many people at home are actually trying this, or are they just sitting in the comfort of their armchair watching? Yeah, and it's a lot more difficult when you're trying, isn't it? So I'm empathising with all of you in the room at the moment. Okay, how will it all fit together? Don't worry about that. Okay, I'm going to move on a little bit and try try to sort of complete those legs, if you like. Now, make sure that they are long enough, yeah, proportionally the legs. So I've done one a little extra length in mine than I think. And there's a reason for that, because if they're too short, you're going to have people riding llamas, not camels. So camels have got very long legs. They're a little bit longer than you think, okay? Just a little bit longer than you think. So let's give those the right length. And while I'm at it, I'll do the back leg of this one too. And you can see that I'm leaving quite a bit of paper, the light of the paper showing. And look, I did get a really wonderful cauliflower here. Can you see that? Yeah. Am I worried about that? No. Okay. And neither should you be if you've got, I've got a massive one there, okay? And I've only just really spotted it, but that's of no consequence here. That's what watercolour does naturally. Okay. So the next part, we've got a whole, yeah, can you see this area here where it all gets cluttered up? Yeah? Nothing of any real importance is showing, maybe that camel's head at the top. But it's cluttered, isn't it? It's just a big series of cluttered darks. That's exactly how you should paint it. Cluttered darks, non-specific. You don't have to make sense out of it. It's just an area of clutter, okay, where it looks like things are confusing. Right, so that's exactly what we're going to paint. We're going to paint things that look slightly confusing. I'm only using 3 colours here, the ultramarine, burnt umber, and a little bit of vermilion. Now I'm adding those to the brush. Okay, I can't duplicate these brush strokes that I've got on, but look, there's part there, part of that dark. And there's a little blob up here for the seat, and then the dark shape of the camel's head in here, plus its neck. Pardon? Oh, yeah, good question. I put 3 different, slightly different colours in the brush. I used burnt umber, a little bit of vermilion, and some ultramarine in the damp brush. Okay, everybody understand that? That the colours are actually in the brush. They're not one at a time, they're all 3 of them are mixing in the brush. Okay, so I'm going to do that again because there's more of that clutter in there. I put the brush into the water and made it damp, and then I picked up the raw colours and they went into the brush. So we're going to mix them on there like this in these kind of marks, you see. I did that kind of quick marks, look. I can hear you saying right now, oh, I can't get used to this way of painting. Yeah. Just think about it like this. I don't know if you've ever done a jigsaw, yeah, at Christmas with your kids, huh? Yeah, and they're electing you, aren't they, to show them how it's done. Okay, and you're saying, right, okay, well, we're going to get the corner pieces first. Okay, look for the corner pieces, you know. And when you put the jigsaw together, you don't really know when you pick up a shape whether it's going to fit in the intended space or not. Very often you're wrong, yeah? You pick up a piece that looks like it will fit here, and you try and fit it into the jigsaw, and you were wrong. Yeah. And then, what about that bit at the end that you're looking for that's going to complete the whole jigsaw? Well, this is a little bit like a jigsaw, but they're unusual shapes. Okay, this one, I'm going to put some ultramarine down there and add some burnt sienna into it. Look, there's a collection of odd shapes here, yeah, that I'm going to join together with a bit of raw sienna. Look, I'm going to join them together like that. Okay, well, I'm looking at the front. That's good. These are. I can't wait to see them, you know. But so look, to see whether or not this is going to check out, you know, the way I think it should. I think they're looking good from here. Most of them on the front row, anyway. So I don't know. Am I allowed to? I think I'm allowed to wander around. Am I, Gary? Yeah. I can't wait to actually see them. That's great. Don't overwork it. You know, that one's very clear. It's very good. Absolutely excellent. Great. Okay. Don't be frightened to make a big mark. Have a look down here. Yeah, good. Small but lovely. As they say, small but neatly formed. Nice. Yes. Again, lovely. Nice big shapes. Good. They're good.
Going too fast.
I am. You're quite right. Can't keep up. Okay, don't worry about that because what you're doing is excellent. Yeah, lovely. That's a good one. A little bit longer in the leg, please. Just a tiny bit, okay? Don't be scared to make the legs long. Sorry? That's fine. That's perfect. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's great. Good. That's good. The smaller one, like that. Yeah, lovely. And that too. Yes, at the end there. I know you were doing a lot of puffing and blowing, like this, but it's actually turning out really well. Yeah, they're nice and fresh, nice and clear. Lovely, nice detail. How do you get that small? You know, lovely. Yeah, good. Yeah, they're all good. Now you don't have to cover up all of the paper. Okay, leave some of it showing. On your painting, for that open look here, you need to leave things showing like that, which is great. A little bit more of the details around there would be good. Okay? With the burnt umber. Yeah, good. It's good. Yeah, you're here. Sitting on the end there. That's good. It's joining up. Legs a little long, please. You know, yeah, but a bit longer. Don't be scared to make them really long. It's a natural mistake to make them shorter. Lovely, neat, very neat. I like this backdrop. Done it before. Okay, good. Yeah, a little failure there. Overworked. Who's this? Has she gone home?
Because she couldn't hear you.
She couldn't hear me?
No.
Oh, right.
Deaf.
Oh, she should come down the front.
I know, but they were all taken at once.
Nice. Nice. Yes.
Bigger cauliflower.
Good. Nice, clear result. They're nice. That's nice and big and bold. Like that. It's got movement in it. Pardon?
I'm not sure what the movement is.
Oh, yeah. Take it from me. It's good. You're worried, but you don't need to be. You're just doing fine. Okay, great. Well, all good. Let me have a look at John's. Oh, but okay, you know, a little bit longer in the legs. Yeah, don't be scared to make the legs longer because they are quite gangly on camels. Okay, so they'll kind of look a little bit better, the whole thing, if you get the legs the right length. I know that from experience. So. Okay, you're actually keeping up fine, all of you. Okay? I'm not sure where we are at the time. About halfway through, that's good. Okay, yeah, lovely. We're right on track, you know, and it's when you feel like giving up, you should get stuck in. Come on, you know that. Just at that point where you feel like, oh, God, I can't do any more of this. Okay? Take another stand and get stuck in. Okay, and complete the task, okay? You pat yourself on the back for it later on. Or you'll say, I'm never going to do that again. Okay, so just take a breather there. I take quite, I mean, you know, when I'm demonstrating, I can't take a break, okay, because you're on a time scale. But when you're in your own studio or your kitchen or wherever it is that you're painting, you can take as many breaks as you like, okay? It doesn't matter how long it takes. Just remember when you take a break, get away from your painting and stop fiddling with it. Okay, there's a couple out there that are fiddled with a bit, you know, errors on errors, and shouldn't use the toilet tissue to mop up, you know, on the painting. Don't. If you make an error on the painting, let it show. Let it show. I mean, all the great wall sculptures, just let them show. I mean, did you notice this one here on mine? Look. Okay, onwards. Now, leave a little bit more space from the backwash. Do you understand? Yeah. So, in other words, leave a little bit more of the white of the paper. I'm going to do the top of that sort of sloping camel there. It's very easy to do. We're going to do the pommel that sits on top there. Okay, so watch this. There's a couple of little, they're tiny little marks. That bit, and I'm letting the light of the backwash show through. Can you see that? I just put this mark here. And then I'm going to take a mark down that side there, like that. And then add a bit of blue to the brush to do the seat. Just there. And you see I'm leaving all this light space here. Yeah. So something I noticed that is you're trying to cover up all of the space. So let some of the space from the paper show through. The coloured lights show through. Okay, so there are 3 marks there going at a slight angle to represent the pommel of the seat, if you like, and a kind of a box that it's carrying on top. Right, now, to leave the light of that blanket showing, it's going to go from, and I'll point it out on this area here, this area that goes up here. Yeah, you looking, everyone? This area that goes from here to here, which is this camel's carrying baggage. Okay, it goes from dark to light there. Okay, so I'm going to leave this light from the paper. Okay, and I'm going to add this yellow and red shape in, and then put the dark into that while it's wet. So wet into wet, dark to light. So I go normally this way. I put the pale wash down first. I add the half-tone wash to the pale wash while it's still wet so that it merges with it. Okay, and then I add the dark last to merge with the other two. Yeah, understand that routine? We do it in that way and you should get a lovely luminous result, gradation. So rather than put the dark down first and then use water to try and merge it. Yeah? No. It never works out. Look, it doesn't look good like that. So my pale wash is the yellow. I'll put that down first of all, just here. Okay, in this sort of shape. Just watch how I'm doing it. Okay, I'm pressing the brush down, and I'm making this shape here. Okay, and leaving this light shape alone. Then I'm going to add the vermilion. It's slightly darker, but not really dark. To that wash, a little bit lower down there. Yeah. Might have to adjust that with a bit more yellow, which I'm going to. Yeah. And I'm going to add the very, very dark, very rich dark, okay, by using a damp brush. Wash the brush out. Damp brush. Take most of the moisture out of the brush and add ultramarine and then burnt umber in the brush together until they form a kind of a black. And we're going to go in further down here, right in that area there. So we've got 3 separate washes that merge together to form a gradation, a colourful gradation. Just give you a couple of minutes to do that, really. Okay, I'll take you through it again. You can apply this method to anything that you're painting. Okay, it's light to dark. The pale wash first of all, your half-tone wash second. You drop it in and let the two merge together, and your dark last. Yeah, and try to make the dark a little bit, the pigment a little stiffer. Not too much water in it. You got the available water on the paper. Okay, if you don't get that right, first of all, we're going to practice. Okay, you can see this blue thing in between there, representing a figure. Yeah, that one's easy. I'm filling my brush with burnt umber. You know, as much burnt umber in my brush as I can get. Okay, and we're going to put his head in first of all, there. See that blob? I just put a blob there, I just touched it, and I'm washing the brush out, and I'm taking full strength ultramarine, and what I'm going to do with it, okay, is I'm going to touch the burnt umber blob, there, okay, and I'm going to bend the brush like this, okay? We're going to use brush pressure, in other words, use the brush pressure. Yeah, like a belly dancer, okay? So I'm going to touch it here, okay, watch the screen, and then, see that? One movement. All right, if you don't get that right straight away, that's fine, but one movement. I touched the burnt umber and I pressed the brush down into a shape and then lifted it up towards his feet. Then adding the feet into that shape is not a problem.
Question is, the parts that you just demonstrated with the 3 colours, is that the backpack of the
Yeah,
Caravan?
yeah,
Because it seems the head is quite a long way from the backpack.
yeah. It is.
Okay, right.
But they invariably walk behind. Yeah. In a group, like a caravan. They don't separate. They kind of camels and men all kind of fit together when you're looking at them. Yeah. Bits of one and bits of the other. Yeah. But like I said, those details where you're getting things to fit together, they look odd. At the end, please. You know, we don't need to do those as we go through, otherwise it just gets worse. So we can make adjustments at the end with this type of watercolour painting if you need to. Yeah. So I have some students working in watercolour who think that everything they do is wrong right from the beginning. So they're constantly making adjustments to things that they think were wrong that weren't wrong in the first place. So your watercolour is not broke, so don't fix it along the way. We'll fix it at the end if it's broke. Okay? Right, so I'm giving you a good indication as to things that can happen, okay, loosely, as you can see with that one, when you use brief marks and brush pressure and water and, you know, let the colours merge by themselves. Yeah. All right, we're going to do the legs on this one here, just to fill in the spaces in between. Okay. They're not difficult. Please. Starting off with the front ones. We'll do them dark. One coming here. Look, and I'm using brush pressure if you can see what I'm doing. Yeah. One here. I'm not going to complete that. And one coming there to get that movement. One at the back that goes across the figure in a V-shaped way. And a little bit of raw sienna here. Right, make the legs a little bit longer than you think. Okay, I've just added a little bit more to that. A little bit more, I'm adding a little bit more. And you'll see the reason why, okay, is we want them to be the right height, you know? Oh, we're going to let that one just drain away there into that cauliflower, not a problem. All right, that's sounded a bit complex structure. Just follow me. You're doing really well, so follow me. Try to make the legs a little bit longer. I'm stressing that really, you know, because I know that they'll look more like camels if you just force yourself to do that a little bit. Don't make them too short. Right, I've said that enough now. I'm not going to repeat myself anymore. Okay, that should go on. I used to have. Let me just tell you a little story there, just to relieve the pressure. I can feel it in the room. I used to have a tutor. He used to come into the room and go round the desks when we were painting. You know, this was in my postgraduate degree, and he would say, "The heads are too big. You made the heads of your figures too big, all of you." So he'd say that every day, you know. And sometimes he'd just come to the doorway. He wouldn't come in the room, and he'd just shout across the room, "Your heads are too big." And he'd say, "How do you know, George? You haven't looked at it yet." And he'd go, "Okay." And he'd come and look, and he'd go, "Yep, head's too big." Yeah. And this went on for at least a term. Okay, and we were all trying desperately hard to make the heads smaller of when we were doing figurative, you know, things, animals too, you know. The heads were always too big, according to George. And then one day he came in and he didn't say anything. He was just looking around, and he came to my bench like that, and he went, "Head's too small." And I said, "Well, I've overcompensated for it, George, because you're always accusing, you know, us of having the heads too big." "Yes, that's right," he said. "I am. But that one's too small. But you can always make it a little bit bigger. But have you ever tried making a large head in watercolour smaller? Ouch. It looks awful." And if you've learnt anything this term, learn this. Pitch it on the smaller side and then make it bigger. When you're painting watercolour, pitch it on the shorter length of the camel's leg and then make it longer. Adjust it. All right, you can adjust it at the end, or you can adjust it right at the time you're doing it. Okay, but if you make it too big or too small, or too short, too long, too big, it's going to be a correction that you can't make at the end. All right, having told you that little story, I learned that the hard way. Right, moving forward, or rather backwards in the camel caravan, okay, we need the next one. Can you see that? This one. Let me get that on camera if I can. This one here. Now what do? Do we attach the camel to the blue man and then put the figure in? Or do we do it the same as we did this one and start off with the head, okay? And then hope it all joins up. Yeah? This second, not hope it all joins up, it's going to join up. Right? Because you've already done that, and you've already done that successfully, so there's no reason why we shouldn't start with the head. There. Now we don't want that head too big. All right? First of all, when we pitch it, we don't want it as big as his head, because he's further back, all right? So it's going to be smaller, as you can see. So pitching the size of that head is your next task. Well, don't worry about it. Just let's get the size of it right. Now, where will it go? Look, I'm kind of drawing with the brush roughly where I think it will go. Roughly about there. I know this is really uncommon for you. I do know that this is a real challenge for you, but that's why you're here today, isn't it, this morning? Yeah? And watch me this afternoon, because I'll be doing that. Look, I've pitched it about there. And actually, if you look at the screen, you'll see that where I've put it, your mind should be seeing the rest of it. Yeah? If you concentrate on it, your mind should be seeing. Your imagination should be already seeing it from where I put it. Okay, so that's a good thing. That means you've got an imagination. Okay, we're going to do the same thing that we did before with the blue. Okay, going to come down with it like this and make some of the folds. We can do them like that. That's lovely. Yeah. Letting some of the... actually, I'd rather like you to see the way that I do the whole thing here from that. I'm doing it exactly the same as this, only smaller. Just watch, because it kind of works better when you don't worry about it, when you just do it. You know? Not a very good instruction, that. Just do it, don't worry about it. But you'll see what I'm saying. Look, see, the dark of the camel. I haven't got it brown like I had before. It's just slightly higher, see? Slightly higher. And the neck comes up about here, and the head shape comes in about here, okay, and they join together, look. Yeah, I more or less got it right. And the back of the camel does this, okay. And if you notice, I'm making single marks all the time, run together, look. Now, if you work quicker like this with an eye, you find you haven't got time to worry. So you don't. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's why I'm going to try and teach him how to do it quickly. See, that's much more spontaneous, isn't it? And I've left some little light areas that are kind of looking like stripes on the camel's blanket. Yeah. Look, I can put this bit in here. We'll say he's going to hold the camel here. I'm going to put a tiny little blob in for his hand. Yeah? And I think this one here, we'll have him, yeah, holding the rope of the camel there. Okay, more blue. The one at the back here, I use cerulean blue for him. Yeah, sort of greyish blue. Dark head shape, okay, and they all kind of join together in a big swirling puddle of paint at the back here. Don't forget, you should use the light spaces as much as possible. Try and let them yeah. This is as slow as I ever paint. I mean, I paint much quicker than this normally. But I remember when I was learning, you know, like you, I would ask my tutors or demonstrators to slow down for me. I can't see what you're doing. Okay, you can see that what I'm doing is basically shadows and dark shapes. I'm leaving the light shapes to speak for themselves. Okay, a little bit of vermilion for this. A couple of shapes there. And I'm going to use a little bit of a damp brush just to make them merge together a bit more. Okay, so to date, I've got that far. Okay, there's a few legs missing. So that's the thing to look for. There's a few legs missing here. Where are they? Well, there's the back one here, of this one, and in that area. And half of this figure's missing, so we just put the other half in. Okay, and some spaces in between here. I've got to get on. We've got to get on. Here's an important part, okay? When you've got this far, okay, I'm going to take the vermilion in a clean area if I can, and some ultramarine, and I'm going to put those two together, about 50-50 mix, to make a kind of a purple. It'll make a brownish sort of purple. Nice liquid wash. And I'm going to do that cast shadow. Can you see it underneath where the feet are? Yeah? The cast shadow. The shadow that's being cast across the desert. And that should give them a real grounding, these things. At the moment they're floating in this yellow space. Okay. So starting from the front here, it seems to meander a little bit across the floor of the desert. Sometimes it joins with the legs, and sometimes it shows them. Yeah? So when you say sometimes it joins objects, the shadow, and sometimes it fractures, and it doesn't go across the object. Sometimes it goes behind, and sometimes it goes in front. Okay, there's a term for that, isn't there? Now you see me, now you don't. Yeah? So remember that shadows do play, and now you see me, now you don't. Or a lost and found is another phrase for it. Shadows are really wonderful subjects to paint because they play these games with the viewer's eye. Okay? And watercolour almost, well, I like to think that it entirely relies upon shadow play, as they call it. So make sure that you use a kind of a now you see me, now you don't routine for that shadow that goes across the desert floor. Yeah. Take a look at the screen. I really quite like the way that looks, you see. And I'm going to merge that with the yellow. So I'm taking my raw sienna. Yeah. We're making kind of a foreground with it, a crisscrossed foreground. You know, in other words, sand dunes, the sand dunes here are, you know, nice big, yeah, and vermilion. Are you following this bit? You can just swipe the brush loaded with raw sienna, maybe a little bit of vermilion in it, across the front part of the picture. In fact, if it skips and dances, you're going to get more sand effect. Okay, I'm going right across that. Remember that cauliflower? See? I can't see it now. That's why I wasn't worried about it in the first place. Looking good. How are we doing for time, Gary?
We've got about 20 minutes.
Fantastic. We've got 20 minutes to do that background. Can you see it behind the camels so that it makes them pop forward? 20 minutes is a long time. Okay, so we've got plenty of time. There's some distant dunes or hills in the back wash there, and that gives me a chance to show you how to control that, so that 20 minutes gives us a chance to see how you can control that and make the camels pop forward. Yeah. Okay, here's the thing, when you've got plenty of time on your hands towards the end of a painting, Yes, thank you. It's Mike. Is Mick?
Yeah.
Yeah. You fiddle, right? And in the last 20 minutes, you fiddle it into the bin. If you're not, if you're not careful, that's exactly what I mean. I've done that many times. Okay, and for those people at home, please don't do that. Okay, but just on that wonderful result, okay, of freshness and looseness of application, and there you go. In the last 20 minutes, she's going put all kinds of different things in there and fiddle it into a cocked hat. So it's a kind of a hands-off. If you get time to think when you're doing a watercolour, you should do exactly that. You should think about it. Okay. However, there's a couple of little details, everyone, okay, that would make this, would make it better, wouldn't it? I mean, yeah, if you can, and ropes and pulleys and things like that, So whilst we're waiting, okay, there's a couple on here that I'm going to take through that. Remember that graded wash of different colours on the camel's back. This one here, the middle section. I'm going to put some of those little ropes, and I'm using the tip of the brush. Watch the screen if you want to see. Yeah. And I'm doing it in a curved way. I held my hand as well to help it with that curve. Yeah, I held it like this, okay, to help it with that curve. Those little stripes, if you like, or ropes and pulleys. Now, using the tip of the brush, it just needs to touch the paper. Not only once. Okay, so we're going to try some of that because it's important. If you want to see how I'm doing it, look, I'm pointing the brush upright like this, upright. It's kind of upright. And I'm looking to see where those marks are going to be first of all. See, there's one here that called the hand. Okay, and now it's hanging on to a rope that does this. Look, see, I'm doing this with my brush at the moment. I'm airbrushing to see roughly where it's going to be. And I need to just touch that lightly at a certain point. I go 1, 2, 3. Oh, nearly. Not quite. 1, 2, 3. Got it. It's just the tip of the brush, you see. And it's just that lovely bravura mark, that immediate mark that from the tip of the brush, it's the fineness of the brush there.
We've sorry to slightly interrupt. We've just had a comment from Maureen who's watching, and she says this is the best demo she has ever seen. She says, "Thank you, Trevor."
You're very.
Try it several times to practice your method.
You're very welcome. I didn't pay her. Thank you very much. That's a really lovely comment. Hope we follow that up, and I hope that's the same for everybody who's watching at the moment. If you haven't got this right this first time, you might say, I like this method, it's challenging me, okay, and I'm going to try this method more often. Now, I can quite honestly say to you that if you do, and I'll guarantee this to you, you will get better at it. You'll be able to pitch it, and there's nothing like the skill of hand of being able to pitch something right. What it relies on is placement, placing shapes, lights and darks, okay, in proportion to one another. Yeah? And for those people who want to paint impressionist watercolours, okay, with not relying on detail or, overworked areas and economy of, painting technique, what this relies on is simple, direct painting. Yeah? So if you don't get it right first time, you don't get a chance to go back. In other words, if you make an error, better to let it show than if you don't. And in time, you will improve upon that, Okay, so, right, we're up to that last penultimate stage, okay, where we're going to drop the distant hills in behind our camel train. And well, I've got to say, the front row looking really glamorous there, okay? Let's get on and do that. I'm going to use the thing differently. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of water in the brush, and I'm going to start here, right where the camel's neck is. Okay, I think you can see there. I don't know if Gary's getting a close-up on that for anybody at home. I've got the brush and it's full of water, and I'm going to paint the distant hills in with water to start with. So we're going to go wet. We're going to do them wet into wet. Okay. So I'm going to place down my area of water, and I think it's roughly about there. Okay. And move it away. Add to it a little bit more water, and I'm sure you all know how to paint mountains and hills. I'm going to put it in there. Now, have you got plenty of time? Now we're going to drop the colours into that. I'm going to use cerulean blue and a mixture of cerulean blue and vermilion. Okay, it makes it kind of a grey. Okay, and there's plenty of time. When you're doing wet into wet, there's plenty of time. Okay, we're letting the water dry into the paper a little bit. Okay, otherwise it will flood too much. And then I'm going to drop in with the tip of the brush, or paint in the distant hills. Like that, so they look fuzzy. Got it? So, make one a little bit higher than another, for goodness sake, that we don't want them all looking the same. No. And I'm going to drop a tiny bit of raw sienna into that. And when you're painting wet into wet, do try and drop one colour into another, into another, into another. Never let the opportunity go by where you can't add another colour in there. That's what makes it watercolour. No? So doing wet into wet with one colour is, like makes Jack a dull boy. Doing it with two colours makes Jill a very interesting girl. And doing it with three colours makes, Jack and Jill very interesting to look at indeed. Okay, so we're going to add, and you can already see, if you look closely, that the vermilion is leaching out of the blue into the water. So I'm going to use a yellow there as well on top to complete that look. No, okay. And we're going to take that right through the legs of the camels as well, playing a now you see me, now you don't with the distant hills. Watch. If you don't know what you're doing, just watch the camera there. I'm painting the spaces in between.
Is this all the same mix?
Huh?
Is this all the same mix?
Yeah, it's all the same mix. Okay. It's just I did it softly there. Okay. You can come across in logical formation, or we could do this bit at the end there. So I'm going to put the water down again. I'm doing exactly the same routine. The water down again, then taking my cerulean and vermilion mix together. The reason why I mix that together, it should look like a grey when you mix them together, is that the vermilion and the cerulean, they separate in the water. Give them a couple of minutes, they'll separate. And that's a lovely look. Okay, so just watch the screen there if you can. Okay, we did that bit at the back there. It's not separated yet. It's almost one of those things that when you turn away and you don't look at it, that's when it does it. It does it in secret. Okay, but it's beginning to already, the two colours are beginning to separate, which is a lovely, chemical result. So I'm trying to use the back drop of those mountains or hills to throw the figures forward. And yes, it's happening. It's working. There should be one or a space in between this one and this one. Yeah. In other words, they are the negative shapes, aren't they? You've heard of that before, haven't you? Yeah. So I'm using the negative shapes or the background shapes to help the camels come forward. Hope that's clear. And sometimes I'm talking so many art terms and I'm trying to, that it doesn't make sense in common parlance. Okay, in common parlance it's the background mountains. Okay, in application, it is the negative shapes. A student of mine once said to me, "Can you show me how to do backgrounds?" And I had to say, "No, I can't. Not now you've said that word. I can't do it now." And she said, "Oh dear. That's why I can't do them." Oh, actually, they're called negative shapes. Yeah, I can show you how to do negative shapes, but I can't show you how to do backgrounds. Okay, so we've got that. There may be, we're at the finish here. There may be some darks or some little things that you may want to put in right at the end. Hope we're doing all right for time, Gary. 10 minutes. Wow, we're quids in. We can have a question time at the end there. The little hat on the guy sitting on the camelback here. Okay, wow. That would be good. We'll put that on. And any other further glazes or whatever you want to do, I think it would be nice to show you how to do a glaze, okay, with the last... The foreground might need a little bit punching up, yeah? So I'm going to take that blue, vermilion and blue, and go back to my big brush, okay? Take a deep breath. Yeah, and I'm going to do a glaze across the foreground here. 1, 2 strokes, that's it. Leave it.
Sorry.
Oh, you didn't catch that. It was ultramarine blue and a bit of vermilion mixed. I mixed it. You heard me do that, I was mixing it. And it makes a kind of a greyish purple. Took my big brush, put it into that wash, and I went one, right at the front, 1 stroke, and then another stroke across it, okay, because it evened it out. And then it's going to look all dirty and grainy, but leave it, it will dry transparent. And if you look closely on this one that I brought in for you, you'll see that there's a slight purple wash on the foreground. And that's how I did it. So that's a glaze, that's a 3rd wash. And there we are. It's complete in my mind, in my book. So I hope you've enjoyed your workshop. And for all those people that are viewing this, hope you've enjoyed and learnt something from, the method that I'm using. And you can see that it actually produces a looser, more fluid result. And the only thing I can say about that is practice, practice, practice. Yeah. My tutor said to us when we went in, he says, "You're going to learn 3 things this year. Okay, observation, observation, and observation." So with watercolour, observe and practice, practice, practice. You'll get it right eventually. Okay, so. I hope you're going to hang around and watch the next demonstration. It really would be a pleasure because I'm going to paint some of my most familiar, friends, flowers in watercolour. I mean, flowers and watercolour were meant to, it's like peaches and cream, isn't it? They were meant for one another. So hopefully you'll pick up some tips on larger washes and more transparent and more colourful washes than we've done here. Thank you very much. I hope I'm on time. Thank you. You deserve the applause. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, let's have a look at it. Yeah. This one's great. All right, come on, let's hold that one up. That's great. Yeah. That's a good one, isn't it? Yeah. At the end. Love that. I love your feel for it. Got a lovely feel for the paint.
I started off with a bad wash to start.
Sweetheart, that's good. That's good. They're a lot better than you think they are, okay? I mean, look at these ones.
Let us bring out the artist in you. If you'd like to learn how to paint or improve your painting, the SAA is here to inform, encourage and inspire you every step of the way. When you become an SAA member, you get so many benefits, including the free bi-monthly newsletter Paint, packed with inspiring step-by-step projects, fascinating articles and detailed information to get your creative juices flowing. Discounts on over 13,000 art products featured on the SAA website and in the Home Shop catalogue, with free order line and free delivery in the UK mainland. A devoted SAA team on hand to answer your questions and give you the confidence and motivation you need to start painting and develop at a pace that suits you. Plus, a free welcome pack filled with gifts and practical help to get you started, as well as the opportunity to make friends with like-minded people.
Best thing of being a MAT member is the inspiration from the magazines, to be able to purchase things at a very reasonable price.
Yeah, you get the reduction on all the materials, the advice you get.
I can shop from home.
It's a community.
It seemed like a very friendly sort of organisation.
If somebody's thinking of joining, don't spend too long thinking. Just join. They'll love it.